Today we're at Enchanted Blade Gaming for a Blitz event. This was our weekly Armory this week, and I tried the new Kasai out. Did not win this week. I went 2-1 against the tournament winner here, which is once again my brother Logan. What were you playing, and did the new cards seem to really help you out?
Yeah, I was playing Viserai, who's traditionally not a super popular Blitz character. He's definitely not what you would call like S tier or anything. But I knew there was going to be an old him in the pool, and I was kind of targeting him with my pick. And then other than that, I was kind of expecting to go sort of mid-range or aggro if possible, depending on the draws. But yeah, I did. I ended up putting a few of the new Everfest cards in my deck, which ended up providing a lot of threatening power. I think they all sort of served the function that I was hoping to get out of them in the different matchups. But yeah, if you want, we can get into that.
Yeah. And what was your game one?
So my first game I played against Icelander, which was a little bit worrisome because my deck is somewhat red heavy, and the main thing I was worried about was if they were able to set up a strong turn before I had the opportunity to get a lot of rune chance out.
Sure.
And then the other thing I ran into was my opponent scoured me on turn one to blow up two of my rune chance,
Sure.
which Icelander can do from Arsenal at instant speed. So like,
with a full hand.
Yeah. So she could potentially be threatening a lot. Thankfully, at the point that she played that out, I was setting up to play an E-Strike anyway.
Sure.
So I was going to blow up the rune chance on my own. So I just ended up taking 2 damage. But that card did seem to be very threatening. Thankfully, it didn't come back.
I think it's very just anti-Runeblade in general because even though the other Runeblades don't necessarily care about the rune chance as much, if you can remove even an embodiment before you go and attack.
Sure.
I mean, I guess the embodiment doesn't matter as much for like embodiment of earth or something of that sort, but if you could remove their embodiment of lightning at instant speed before they attack, that could even be threatening. So I think Scour might see a lot of play especially against Runeblade, even maybe in constructed.
Yeah, Chain as well. If you can just slow them down, get rid of those shackles, and just force them to play at normal speed again, it's like
the Blitz. You're only probably a few turns, but at the same time, if you turn off even one shackle turn at that point, it's going to be.
Aggro Chain is a pretty popular choice for people that are looking to just go straight in aggro and the Blitz format. Yeah,
just swing as big and wide as you can every turn, constantly. So how about your second matchup? I believe that was our game.
Yeah, so I played against Kasai. That one was a very fortunate one. You won the roll, but you chose to go second.
Bad mistake.
Right, against Viserai, that could, it could go either way. If I hadn't drawn a Mordred Tide with, I believe I had Mordred into become the Arc Knight.
Yeah.
Which is always a good setup because on turn one, because I don't mind discarding a card.
Yeah.
Because you get to fetch a non-attack. So I got to set up 8 rune chance on turn 0.
Yep.
Which was a pretty devastating position to be in.
And if I remember correctly, I had a Minerva that I could have arsenal turn 1, and so that also was detrimental to me.
Obviously, if we were omnipotent, we would have known. It would have been much better for you to go turn 1. Maybe you would have been able to threaten less just because you had to keep the Minerva to arsenal, but generally you want to arsenal a card on turn 1 anyway, or turn 0 anyway. But yeah, that was a very fortunate circumstance where I got to set up 8 rune chance, and then that game ended very quickly. That was like a turn 2
it was still pretty
game.
Close just because we just sort of threw everything at each other that we could.
Yeah, and I wasn't blocking.
With that first turn of rune chance, I don't run enough. I didn't have enough blues to stop enough of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if it were a guardian, which even with a guardian, you're still looking at being able to OTK pretty much no matter what, right?
And that's the matchup where I think my Revel and Runeblood really pulled his weight, because on the turn where I won, I swung with something that was like 0 for 4, go again, and then I reveled in Runeblood and came in with Rosetta, which I had like 3 floating rune chants. I think it was something from like
you ended up with
whatever.
You spellbound Creepers of Mavrian Skies for the go again, and then that created you another rune chant.
Right.
And you already had an extra one.
Yeah. So then I played Swarming Gloomveil with go again, and then I didn't get the arcane hit trigger, but what I did get was a Rosetta's Thorn coming in for 10 damage for 1 pitch, detonating all the rune chants. So like that, the only reason I was able to set up so many rune chants was because Revel and Runeblood created 4 of them.
For 0.
Yeah.
So, pretty good, especially if you could. I know you didn't have to there, but especially if you can just use that on the Spellbound Creepers. I feel like with these new cards, The Spellbound Creepers are going to be easier to maintain as well, just because you're going to be able to make a lot more rune chants or get in this unblockable arcane damage potentially with the Swarming Gloom Veil. It's very interesting. I'm interested in playing the new Viserai. Just a couple of new cards, which the third one you have here is the Rimeblood Incantation. Against, or in your OTK setup, if you can get one of those off and just sit on it for a couple of turns, right, you're just getting free rune chance.
So I think I also had one of those on the board on the turn. I played the Swarming Gloom Veil. Maybe. I could be confused.
You didn't have one in our game, so it wouldn't have been
that must have been the Icelander one. But I mean, the fact that it creates an aura immediately on your turn is always good for the Swarming Gloom Veil.
Well, it's creating two, right? Because doesn't it make, or it doesn't...
Well, because you're not playing
it doesn't... Yeah, I get you. Okay.
But if you play it out appropriately on your turn, you can create rune chants through Viserai's ability with it. So it's really good at turning on Viserai or just triggering off of him.
Yeah, so
because
with
it's a
like a
non-attack
Gorganian Tome or something like that, just for free.
If you Gorganian and then play that, I mean, you get to create a rune chant immediately when you play it, as well as one each turn. So the main reason I cited that one in was particularly because, like I said, I knew I was going to be against an old him, and I was very much expecting to have to set up an OTK turn, and it worked out to great effect in that matchup.
Are you running? There were a lot of wizards today. Are you running enough blue to soak everything and still be able to make some rune chants, or did you just kind of go like a mid-range kind of aggro build whenever you did the wizard games today?
So that's what I love about Viserai the most. He doesn't really have to choose if he wants to commit hard to sort of like setting up and trying to OTK or going mid-range / aggro. If I could, I would run more Mavrians.
Sure.
And that would make the deck feel a little better in terms of an aggro sort of setup. But as it is, I only run the yellow ones just because I really just want to go again on the OTK turn with the list I've built.
Sure.
In the Wizard matchup, I definitely felt like the game was slipping away from me if I didn't end it, and I believe I won that one on turn 3. If I wasn't able to close it out then, I probably wasn't going to be able to close it out at all just because, I had so many reds, and I was drawing hands of 3 reds and a blue or 4 reds, red all the way through. And it made it very awkward to play out certain hands when I knew that Icelander threatens at any moment to play out a channel like Frigid or something like that. So I was happy to have been able to apply enough pressure that the Icelander never really got to choose what they were going to put in their arsenal. It was kind of just
like you said, the channel like Frigid shuts off anybody that's trying to do a lot of actions in their turn. So definitely can see that being a problem for you. How about your third matchup? I don't even remember who you fought.
I played against an Oldhim.
You got the Oldhim game, sure.
Yeah. In Oldhim, we had played the same matchup like 2 or 3 weeks ago at a Blitz Armory, and I knew going in today, I want to win this time. I didn't manage to win that time because on the OTK turn, I didn't have any way to get go again.
Oh, sure.
I had blocked with my creepers, and I didn't have a Mavrian, so there was no way, and I had also blocked out with all my meet and greets. So I had like a 7-card hand with no go again, which is kind of like your worst case scenario. This week, I managed to get to 24 rune chants before I went off, and I had a Mavrian with a 9th blade, which meant there was almost no circumstances under which Oldhim would have survived. I don't remember the total damage I put out, but I think it was close to 40.
Sure.
Which in Blitz, even Oldhim can't block for that much.
Yeah, he can stop some of the arcane or some of the damage, but definitely 40 is 40's going to get it.
So in that game, the Revel and Rimeblood and the Swarming Gloom Veil, they didn't come into play much. I think I blocked with the 2 of them, and I had 1 Revel left in my deck.
Sure.
The Rimeblood Incantation, though, the main reason I put it in here was for that matchup, and it felt great. To play it out with just 1 pitch and potentially create a rune chant through some other means just by playing something before it. I was just really trying to block out, set those up, and get as many rune chants built on the board until I ran into a Sonata. Which unfortunately that game I never hit the Sonata to try and pull off like the traditional OTK with your chess piece, the Scalata. But just having that another go again option that can slowly build rune chants for a really cheap cost.
Yeah, it's good on its own already, and it has go again, so you can put it in the middle of a chain, and with Viserai's ability, get those extra rune chants just for playing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a very interesting line of play. Even if you, let's say, had a blue and 3 reds in constructed, that's a lot of rune chants. That's giving you 3 turns of 3, or 3 turns of 3 for that.
Yeah.
Just for on that, and then each of those was also making an additional rune chant for each additional one you're playing. So, I mean, God forbid you had that on, let's say, turn 0, and you just literally made it so your next 3 turns are making you a bunch of rune chants. All you have to do is block out. You don't even necessarily care that you're building extra ones up with Read the Runes or something like that, right? So, I feel like that's a very interesting card for the OTK, and I think that we're going to see a lot of it in the Prism matchups and the Olden matchup, or even the Bravo matchup. We have no idea what the new Bravo and Constructed is going to look like. There's like 19 lists floating around.
Yeah, there's so many different archetypes and ways you can build him.
So
but he's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I haven't even started, like, the choice paralysis is really getting me on him.
No, that's definitely the way I feel about him too.
So yeah, you went 3-0. The Icelander matchup, I played against an Icelander as well. She's weird. In my Icelander game, it was sort of a he tried to just win on my turn, basically, and he came very close. He took me to 4, and then I got to attack him for free, and then he could not, on his turn, he just drew up, so then I got another turn, and he didn't have enough cards with priority to hit me for enough.
The Storm Striders were probably gone or something like that.
The Storm Striders were still up. He just didn't have the cards in his hand there, I don't think. Because what I did is I just swung a sword naked.
Yeah, threatening lethal.
Lethal because he was at, I think he was at 4, I want to say. Threatened, not necessarily lethal. He tried to go off again. I had the cards to block the Arcane that I needed. Sure. So I only took another 2 damage instead of, I think, the 10 he might have been threatening me. And then I was able to... I routed is how I finished the game. I just got that extra +3 on the top. He didn't block with anything because he couldn't, and then I don't think he realized that I had lethal sitting on the board whenever I routed, because he actually technically instant responded on my route where I was threatening the lethal damage.
Oh, tried to kill you there.
Tried to kill me there and didn't have it.
Sure. Yeah.
So very interesting. Weird line of play.
Icelander is hard to read, I think, was what I experienced the most, because she... more than Kano, she really threatens to do things to you on your turn. Kano can do it, but it costs him a lot of resources.
I described her as a guaranteed Kano instead of
basically once per turn you get the Kano ability.
Exactly. So you're setting yourself up for that. Exactly, the once per turn guaranteed pitch to Kano's ability, right? But if you're gambling less, that means that you can afford to block more too. So she's not like trying to get 4 blues in hand so she can pitch to Kano and try to instant a couple of times off of like an opt or something like that. She's just trying to set up the Emeritus Scolding, hit you for 6 or 7 or whatever it may be, and then she could still block you with 3 cards and pull that off, right? So it's super weird that like the Wizard's going to be able to do that now, and that matchup is so different, just because the other thing, she has this little bit more life than Kano. She almost seems like she should have had less, in my opinion, because she has that guarantee. Now, she can't combo as easily.
I think the fact that it's blue is what keeps it sort of in check. Your damage ceiling is somewhat lower, and you can't play things like the new Majestic we saw for Wizard. That's very powerful.
Easily, right.
Yeah, you can't play that out of your arsenal. That's kind of like a Storm Strider's only sort of card.
Exactly, yeah. Or off the Stir the Aether Winds.
But,
well, there's one more too. Something Aether Vein, something like that. I don't know Wizard cards that well.
Yeah, I mean.
But it's significantly harder of a matchup, or not a matchup. I'm sorry. Significantly harder of a deck build in comparison to Kano, where you're kind of just trying to do this red line with as much blue to pitch as you can, or set up as you can. You know what I mean? So she doesn't combo obviously as easily, but still can hit you. Like I was still hit for 10 Arcane there, right? I blocked I think 5 of it, and that let me. I think I ended the game with 4 life remaining because of that. So new Icelander, super weird. Probably going to be a high meta pick. I think the Kano Dorinthia ruling the roost is probably going to be a thing of the past. Not necessarily because of Icelander, but because of Everfest in general. I think there's a lot of new weirdness that's going to see play. We had a Kaio today. The Kaio swung on me turn 0 for 21.
I didn't get to play against Kaio.
That was very strange. I played Kasai today. I typically like Warrior, and the new cards feel great. What's the I can't even think of the name of Blade Rush, I think.
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner. That
Reaction.
is like one of the best feeling cards in the game.
Yeah, no, I just looking at it, you can tell like that's significantly upgrade for Warrior.
It's going to be weird to. You're probably going to even see that in Sabers, Bolton, or if we get a Axes or Sabers Dorinthia or something running again. There's kind of like a bit of a troll list for Axes Dorinthia floating around. Because of the spilled blood, you can dominate your first attack, so you're going to kind of guarantee yourself 3 swings, which I think is where that all goes for her. But at the same time, I don't know if it's super worth because you're losing out on your Blade Forge and everything. But again, another video. Everfest has really shifted. I don't know if it's going to shift the meta as much. You're still probably going to see these warriors. You're still probably going to see the wizards. Obviously, we're going to see a little bit more Runeblade and Blitz as a stronger pick now, I think.
Yeah, I think the aggro that the new cards really present in terms of, like, 2 of the games I played today, we only had 3 turns. So it's like they can definitely put up damage, like the warriors and the wizards.
But Everfest, for better or worse, lot of changes. So looking forward to playing that in our next event. I think next week, unfortunately, we're going to be playing a sealed Tales of Aria. But we're going to be trying to do some more constructed practice, try to maybe stream some more constructed games, and you're going to see more of that coming from us. So I hope that you can join us in our TTS streams. Logan and I have been trying to do those at least once, maybe twice a week. Last week work kind of got in my way, but this week we're hoping for at least another 1 or 2 of those. And then hopefully we'll all have another video next week, and maybe we'll see somebody else on the table for the interview, but we'll see you then.
But yeah, if we should mention, we're going to be at the calling in Indianapolis, so if you are going to be there,
definitely try to come see us at the calling. We're gonna hopefully have shirts and everything made for that, and definitely try to seek us out. We're hoping that we're gonna get content creator promo soon. We're kind of still waiting on all of that, but if we do and you see us, we'd love to shoot a quick video with you. Love to give out as many promos as we have. Looking forward to doing all of that in the near future. Thanks again for the interview today. I hope that you had fun in the event, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks.
Thanks
For watching.